Today I'm going to tell you the fastest way that you could start a business and make $100,000 a month using everything I've learned in my 7 years of experience after generating over $115 million. Now, when it comes to building a business and making $100,000 a month, most people start with the vehicle, right? So you got SMMA, drop shipping, crypto, you can have an agency, coaching, community, video editing, et cetera, et cetera. And there's nothing wrong with any of those, but they're all vehicles. And it's not about the vehicle, and it's more about the driver. We're gonna get into that in just a second, okay? In terms of making a lot of money, it comes down to three things: skills, characteristics, and beliefs. Most people only focus on the skills, but they don't have the characteristics or beliefs that are gonna properly make them get to the next level. Now, I'm not trying to sell you anything cheap, so don't worry about that. This video is completely free. I have really good expensive stuff down in the description below, but I genuinely am trying to get back to you guys in this video on what it takes to get to $100,000 a month, okay? Something I wanna bring up is businesses don't fail, people do. Okay? There's nothing wrong with any business. Any business out there will work. Any business can make a lot of money. It's not that the business fails, it's the person does. Okay? We're gonna get into that in just a second. They try something and confidence goes down. So they start a new business, they try something, they don't get results, their confidence goes down, and then they stop and they blame the business instead of blaming themselves. It's a common human characteristic. In fact, it's one of the reasons most humans never make any money. It actually is one of the reasons that makes me sad, because when you look at my career, I went $0 to $25 million a year in 4 years. During that time, the first year, in 6 months, I hired 6 coaches. All the programs were 4 months long. And people go, Tanner, why'd you hire a coach if they were 4-month-long programs? And I said, because it wasn't working. But that's an abnormal thought. I realize that now. I realize that most people don't think that way. Most people would rather try to get a return on their investment by waiting for something to finish. But if something isn't working, why would I wait? And ultimately, what most people are missing is they don't take any responsibility. They don't blame themselves. Even when things are taught to you or shown to you that maybe you had a coach, you hired someone, you paid someone, and it didn't work out, blaming them does nothing, because every time you point blame at someone else, you give up your control to change your life for the better. So even if someone else is in the wrong, I never, ever, ever will placate blame on them, because the only way that I can change my life is by changing myself. Nothing with them is going to change. I can't control them. So why even think about it? Now, I actually want to get more practical with you guys, as well give you actual to-dos to make money. And the first thing is you got to become the person who can do it first, and then the skills are easy. I did door-to-door sales, I did Cub Scouts, I did calculus, I did basketball, football, all that stuff. What was happening is I was gaining beliefs and characteristics that would make me successful in business. Now, some of those skills actually transferred over. Like, I was also learning those skills, right? But really, what did football and basketball teach me? I learned how to do hard stuff. I learned how to persevere. I learned how to build discipline. I learned how to do hard things even when I didn't want to. Like, I'm building all these characteristics that would make me successful. Humans' capacity, even like when you read about religion, I'm not super religious, but when you read a lot about religion or God, man is created in God's image. So what that means is, if you're a God, an actual God, like, what you think is reality instantly. Right? So if I want a cup of water, like, it instantly would like appear here. Without getting too crazy or like way out there, I think that humans don't believe they can do certain things. And so they set a restriction on themselves, which is why they never achieve the goal. If you believed you could be a billionaire and you thought you were a billionaire, you would act that way. A lot of times, getting the characteristics and belief first is more important than the skill. So for example, a goal of mine is I would like to shoot to be a billionaire, which means I'm gonna have to create like bigger companies than I currently have. That also means I'm gonna have to become a different person. I'm probably gonna have to learn patience. Like, when you think of a billionaire, or you think of a multimillionaire, think of characteristics they have: perseverance, discipline, patience. The way you become that thing is you first identify what it has, and then you start incorporating it into your life. And as you incorporate it into your life, suddenly your life will change. Suddenly. Right? It's because you started taking different actions. The only way to take different actions is you have different beliefs and characteristics. So something that happened for me and my benefit at a young age, and it's also why you shouldn't really worry about age in terms of business, because if as a kid, I was forced into those things that some kids aren't forced into. That's why some people are considered prodigies, or they grow up and they have a lot more success. You could be a 25-year-old or a 40-year-old, and you could be a complete newbie in business at 40 years old. Like, it doesn't matter what age range you are or what gap you are, because people will try to say that, like, oh, you're 40, you should know better. It's like, no, like, there's totally different ways of measuring business maturity. Business maturity is completely different than human maturity or male maturity or women or female maturity, okay? The first thing is trying to change your beliefs and characteristics. For me, I had help as a child by being forced to do difficult things that helped me build beliefs and characteristics around being a millionaire, around a person making $100,000 a month. That same thing has happened to you, or what has happened is you've had an easier childhood or a cush childhood, and then what you have to do is you have to start thinking about the characteristics and beliefs that a person doing $100,000 a month would have, and then you start incorporating those things in your life. And a lot of times it's like discipline. They wake up early, they go to bed on time, they work out, like those types of things start happening in your life, and so you start to change into that person. Let's assume you've actually changed into this person and you've actually created beliefs and characteristics that have made you that. Because here's the thing, I could teach you the skills. I could teach you how to write. I could teach you how to do sales. I could teach you how to do, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, whatever. And it wouldn't matter if you don't have the characteristics and the beliefs that type of person has to have with those skills to make $100,000 a month. That's where most people are missing. So first work on yourself, and then the skills will become very easy. So now that we have that out of the way, we've talked about beliefs, characteristics, and skills. We have to think about what it takes to build a $100,000 a month business. Now, at the granular level, we have to create value. Now, value is created when pain is removed from someone's life. That's my definition. So if you're able to go into someone's life and they're like, man, I have this problem, or I have this pain, or this issue, and you're able to remove that, that is now valuable. Another person who actually put out a book about it, really like his stuff, Alex Hormozi, right? $100 million offers, which he talks about the value equation for an offer. And he has 4 quadrants. He has determined outcome, perceived likelihood of achievement, time, and effort. And the better the outcome, and the higher the likelihood of achievement, and the less time it's gonna take and the least amount of effort, the better the value equation. I also think that is very good in terms of teaching you guys what to do. That is when value is created. So all the businesses I've had, I'm just gonna tell you the businesses I've had. There's better businesses, but I had a fitness business. I got people in shape. Like, I removed pain from their life. I get them a 6-pack. I help remove fat, etc. I helped consult trainers to make money. That's a pain. Like, a lot of trainers don't make a lot of money. Then I helped other business owners learn how to make money. A lot of business owners don't know how to make money. Then I started getting into tech companies and portfolio companies. And so, like, I've really expanded. And everything started with helping people relieve a problem. And a lot of it is in the money sector, right? In the wealth sector. But you have fitness, relationships, and then you have wealth. And if the value you're giving is helping in one of those 3 areas, and it's tremendous amount of value, you're gonna get a lot of business. You're gonna make a lot of money. That's why when it comes to creating value, in terms of thinking of, okay, how am I gonna actually take pain out of someone's life in the fastest, quickest way possible? If you think about tech, you have to build the tech. That takes a year. So to me, is that a great business? Yes, but it's not a great business for beginners. You could build a product and risk your whole life salary and loans and your mortgage and build that. Sure, but it's like super risky for beginners. So that's why for beginners, or why I'm looking at my journey and I'm so proud of it, is because if you think about it, in terms of creating value as a beginner, coaching or consulting is the best and easiest business to start from scratch. And the reason for that is you're leveraging the easiest way possible to relieve pain from someone's life, and you can go straight to helping them remove what they want. So when someone's trying to get in shape for fitness and they say, hey, Tanner, like, tell me your workout routine, I just tell them. It's like instant. Like, I don't have to go build anything. I don't have to make anything. It's straight to it. And that's why I was able to go to $0 to $1 million in 12 months. So let me take you through that. So the first business I started, and the way I was able to create value, is from 12 to 22 years old, I played American football and basketball. And I played Division I American football. Now, when I realized I wasn't going to play pro, which was my goal, I had a mentor that said, hey, you should start a business of fitness. And I said, why? And he said, well, like, that's all you've been doing the last 10 years. You do nutrition, you do calories, you do macros, you're on these eating plans, you have to work out a lot. Like, you should definitely do fitness. And so I said, okay. So I started helping people remove fat and build muscle and get insane bodies. And you guys can actually see some of my, I'll have my team throw up some of my modeling pictures. Like, you can see I was in crazy good shape. And that was actually how I was able to go to $0 to $1 million in 1 year, because I started just helping people with fitness. Either I would reach out to people on my social media, I'd reach out to strangers, like so cold DM, or I would do what is called Instagram shout out. So they would promote me on pages, and then people would come to me, and then I'd reach out to them. So that's the first way I was able to create value, is you have health, wealth, relationships. I was able to help people get in better health. health. Then I went from 1 million to 10 million in 12 months. Now, people will go, Tanner, how are you able to do that so fast? It's all relative. Like I was spending about 16, 18 hours a day. All I was doing is working. And then number two is when you start having success, like I was making a lot of money as an online trainer. People started asking me how I'm doing that, specifically other trainers, because trainers don't make a lot of money usually. Fitness professionals, they don't make a lot of money. So they started coming to me, and I was charging for fitness programs like $3,200 on average for 4 months. So like $800 a month. And I would get people who would come to me and say, hey, Tanner, can you show me how to build an online fitness business, right? And I was like, I don't really want to do that. But people kept lining up. And finally I said, all right, I'll do it for like 10 grand. And I said a number that I didn't think they would do and that they were willing to pay it. So because I was able to charge more and I had referrals coming to me, and then on top of that, I started running ads, I was able to move very quickly. But again, for men, I'll say at least, for men, a bigger pain over their health is wealth. And that was another reason, is because now that I was able to create more value because of a different offer per se, they were willing to pay more, because most people will pay more to build a business to make money than they will to get in shape. And then the last step was when I went 10 to 25 million. Okay, now 10 to 25 million, I started helping people outside of fitness because I had more people asking. And then I started creating other companies. So for example, like some of our clients, they will ask, hey, can you run our ads for us? So I create a division called Elite Ads. Some of our clients said, can you get setters and closers for us? So I created a division called Elite Closers. And that again allowed us to scale. One of the books you could read on this, by the way, in terms of creating value and scaling and how to think about business, is Ready, Fire, Aim by Michael Masterson. I'm not affiliated at all, but it's a great book and it really teaches a lot of stuff. And so to recap real quick, is you want to first get the characteristics and beliefs of a successful person. Once you do that, then you learn the skills. Once you've done that, then you create value. And the value needs to be around health, wealth, or relationships. And then you just continue to ascend from there. So people will ask, did you plan on building this business? Did you plan on this? No, like it just happened. Because as you're successful, those things start to happen, okay? And because I have prior knowledge and characteristics, it happened a lot faster. So sometimes people will think, hey, Tanner, I can go 0 to 25 million in 4 years just like you. But the thing that they're missing is they haven't had the childhood experiences I have that built the beliefs and characteristics necessary to become that person. Once I got into a business, it was easy because when things didn't work out or they got hard, I just said, I've done this in football a million times. Like, why can't it work here? Does that make sense? Like, I didn't think, oh, this isn't gonna work, like all the things that would go wrong. I thought that no matter what, it would eventually take work. And for most people, maybe this will take you 1 to 3 years to get it right. Because most people, when they come into building a business that does $100,000 a month, they don't have the characteristics and beliefs yet that are necessary to work with the skills. They have the skills, or they're working on the skills, but they haven't worked on the characteristics and belief, and that's why they're not successful. So if you want to make $100,000 a month fast, and like even 1 to 3 years, guys, is relatively fast, you first got to work on beliefs. So it's a statement of who you are, what type of person you want to be. So if you want to be a millionaire or a person who makes $100,000 a month, what are the beliefs you need to have to be that person? What are the beliefs or characteristics of that type of person, right? So it could be like focus, discipline, emotional maturity, etc. And then you start focusing on the skills. If you guys can focus on your characteristics and beliefs, then you start learning the skills, then you create value, and then you just keep creating more value, because again, as you're leveling up, you're learning more skills, you're creating more characteristics and beliefs of it, what it takes to be that type of person. You will make more money than you can possibly imagine. And this is part of the reason I was able to build an 8-figure net worth all before the age of 30 when I started at 25 years old. So if you guys need help building any of this out, just click one of the links below to book a free strategy call with my team, or just DM me the word coach on Instagram at tanner.chidester, and I'll help you build this out. But if not, this is what it really takes to make a lot of money. And this is what a lot of people don't talk about, is that all they focus on is the skills, but they never talk about the characteristics or beliefs. So that's all I have in this video, guys. See you in the next one.